Right, welcome back. This is a series going through the AQA Resistant Materials GCSE specification. We're looking at the developing ideas section and how to maximise our ability to get marks. In the last video we looked at adding social, moral, environmental and sustainability comments because there's 5 marks available for those. We also looked at adding the material properties ones, and if I zoom out you can see I should have a page that is full of, zoom out, full of green and red comments. The red comments being material properties, the green comments being social, moral, environmental. And in my experience, 5 per page is enough to convince, of each per page is enough to convince the examiner that you are making your decisions based on those. There's a couple more things we can do with this page just to maximise our ability to gain marks. They're not actually involved in the development section, but if we put them in now we can earn ourselves some marks a bit later on. In the evaluation section, the first line of that states that there needs to be appropriate testing throughout the designing and making process, taking account of third party or client opinion. So there's numerous ways that can take. One really beautiful quick way that I've found, and I'm going to show you 2 techniques here. The first technique is that you can have a little box. I'll just sketch it for us over here. A little box on the side of our page, and we are going to very simply write the 8 spec points. Most of my guys, I get them to write their spec headings around Access FM. So there's 8 statements that they make, and I get them to label them 1 to 8 because that makes it for ease of use later on. And if we just write S1, S2, S3 for spec heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and then what we do is we have the spec written. Obviously we know what these specs say: aesthetics, cost, client, environment, size, safety, function, materials. We then look at our design and what we've done, and we tick off how this design meets the spec. So this is our own self-analysis, self-evaluation of the specification. So this one is good for appearance and aesthetics, good for cost, good for client, good for the environment, size-wise, so it's good for that. Safety, or good for that. Function, good for that. Materials, let's say good for that. So on this one is obvious. If we wanted to give ourselves some lines for development, if there was one that actually was obviously a weakness, if we were to put a cross in there, then on the next page we know that this one here, spec point 2, we need to change something in our design to meet this AC cost. So it might be that we've used low grade materials. It might be that our spec says that our client wants a high grade piece of equipment using only the best materials, and we're using some fairly standard ones here. So we might want to think about using some more specialist, or it might be the other way around. It might be that we're using some nice hardwoods, but actually they want something cheap, in which case we're going to have to start thinking about using pine, just to bring the cost down a little bit. So that's one thing you can do. You can self-evaluate, but that evaluation line also states that we need to take into account client opinion. So another thing that I get my guys to do is, on the page if you can, and I get them to write 3 questions, and you can just write these as briefly as you want. So this is questions to the client about what the client likes, what the client dislikes, and what the client wants changed. And then you have a little interview with your client. I suggest you Get your students to make the client someone in the class next to them, because that just makes it easier for them to get genuine feedback. And then they can begin to write down what the client likes about this design, what they don't like, and what they want changed. And again, it's this column here that leads to obvious evaluation. If there's something they want changed, you just need to make sure that in your final design or in a future development page, this has been taken account of. And if the examiner can see this idea with a request for a change, and then that request being made note of and then taken attention of and changed in a future design, then it's so easy for the moderator to give, there's 4 marks for that line. And they can just tick that off because they can see it on every page that the development is being affected by and influenced by a third-party opinion and an awareness of the specification. So these 2 things here can be really useful. There's 4 marks available for this. There's 5 marks available for the green comments. There's 5 marks available for the red comments. There's 5 marks available for the creativity. So this page by itself now is heading towards 19 marks. Not on its own, but it's contributing to getting 19 marks. If you were to do 2 more pages like this, and then some initial ideas and a final idea that brings together, not necessarily anything new, but brings together all the things from these pages, then you're a long way towards getting those 19 marks straight away. And you've not even done any modelling, which is worth another 5 marks in itself, and you've not written the final manufacturing spec, or a diagram with sizes and a cutting list, and they're quite quick to do. And you've already got 19 marks with here. 19 marks from recollection is 17 for a D, 21 for a C. So you're a couple of marks off a C. And then the modelling will bring you up really easily. And the plan, the logical flow, this, again, having this kind of page and then seeing the ideas develop, you get a shed load of marks for a logical flow. So you're probably on, and there's 5 for that. So you could be on 24, and then you've just got the modelling to do in the final spec. So 24 marks from a couple of pages that look like this is, I think that's a B. So I hope this has been helpful. I will try to post some more videos as and when they become apparent to me that they might be useful to you. Good luck.